Hello, welcome back. If you want to play along, for this exercise you can simply open a blank worksheet. I've added a few labels, but that's all I've done. Now you know that all cells have addresses. If I click on B2, you can see the address displayed here in what I'll call the address box. I'm going to create a formula here that will calculate the tax and then calculate the total amount of the invoice. I'm going to put an amount in here for net sales just to make it easy. And I'm going to use 13% as a tax rate. The formula I'm going to build is equal net sales times the tax rate. You'll notice that I'm clicking on the cells. I don't type the cell references. This is really a best practice. I'll tell you to get in the habit. Sooner or later you're going to see that this is actually easier than typing B2. You'll make fewer mistakes and get better results. There we go. And I'm going to type equal this plus this to calculate the total invoice. Now, some people, if they had been asked to determine the amount of the tax, would have typed in equal 1,000 times 13%. And they'd get the right results. But that's called hard coding, and that undermines the functionality of Excel. So unless you're using Excel as a calculator, don't do that, ever. Well, of course there are exceptions. But instead, whenever possible, use what I call helper cells. These are helper cells, and their labels help us understand what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. And now I'm going to make this worksheet even more useful. I'm going to delete my hard work here, and I'm going to select these 8 cells. I'll go to Formulas, Define Names, and then I'm going to select Create from Selection. This dialog box asks, where do you want to get the names from? Make sure left column is ticked and click OK. Well, it doesn't look like much happened, but now we can see if I click on this cell, it's named tax. And this cell is named net sales. So now, as well as the address B2, it also has a name. And this is going to be very useful as you build more complex worksheets. It also allows for an audit trail and just makes the worksheet easier to read. I'm going to recreate the formulas to calculate tax and calculate the total invoice. Notice I build the formula, it's telling me the name of the cell that I click on. Naming cells makes it easier to build formulas, and there's a lot less chance of error. And of course, total invoice is equal to net sales plus tax. I'll look up in this formula bar, and it very clearly says that this number is net sales plus tax. Very easy to understand. And of course, if I change this number, everything works just fine. But when I hard coded, very dismal results, so I'll delete that. But I want you to notice that if I type in B2 times B3, I'll get the right amount of tax. And when I change the net sales to 1,500, this cell does change correctly. But if you look at the formula bar, it shows the cell references, not the cell names, so it's less useful. To show you why this is useful, imagine building a complex worksheet. I'm going to select a blank sheet, and I'm going to pick a random cell in the middle of nowhere. And I'm going to type equal net, and you'll see that Excel has added net sales to the list of possible options. Now I can either keep typing or I can select it, times. If I start typing tax, the same thing happens. This time I want tax rate. Enter. And here, in the middle of nowhere, Excel found the proper cells and created the right results. That's pretty useful. I didn't have to go back and remember which cells had the needed data. Anyone looking at this cell can say, oh, I see what we're doing. Of course, maybe they don't know where to find net sales. Well, we have a way of doing that. Go up to Formula Defined, Name, Name Manager, and here you can see all of our names listed, and you can see what each name refers to. Back on sheet 1, just remember that not all cells need names. When you understand how naming works and start to understand the benefits, it can lead to better spreadsheet hygiene and more useful workbooks. You can name cells or ranges of cells, and you'll see benefits as you explore lookup, absolute cell references, and other topics. But that's enough for now. Hope you'll join me again soon.